Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. In today's video, we'll be breaking down a subscriber replay taken from Gold. In this video, we'll be watching Syringe playing Jhin with a Janna support against Rakan and Xayah. While we're going to analyze Jhin in this replay, what you can expect to learn in this video is what happens when you don't abuse short trading potential when playing champions like Jhin, Ezreal, Draven, and Vayne, and you're up against champions that have a wave clear advantage over you, like Xayah and Tristana. In this game, Jhin has a Shaco jungler while the enemy team has a Mundo. In terms of the 2v2 matchup, Jhin has better short trades and a very slight range advantage, while Xayah excels in longer trades and has a better wave clear. Janna is a sustain support, which will allow them to win short trades after she skills up shield. However, if Brand can land harass that doesn't get shielded, or if he catches Janna in a stun, the red team will have a big advantage. Overall, if both sides play well, then Jhin and Janna will have an advantage from the get-go in this lane and will be able to snowball. With that said, let's get right into our missions. In this game, to win this lane, Jhin will want to do the following: take short favorable trades, gain a small minion lead, don't push the wave, and abuse your level lead. As always, we'll explain why these are our missions as we get into the game. With that said, let's hop right into it. Jhin doesn't have to leash and probably has a leash advantage, which leaves him with two options. Option 1 is to look for a brush cheese, while option 2 is to immediately start hitting the wave. If you were the Jhin in this position, which option would you go for? Alright, let's think about cheesing first. Cheesing here is bad for a couple reasons. First, Jhin and Janna have a pretty bad ambush. At best, they're going to take a short trade and back off here. That's not really the problem though. The problem here is that by going for a cheese, the opponents still might not leash, or they might go for a safe route from the buff. In either of these cases, they'd be able to hit the wave first, which would then completely nullify any pressure that Jhin would have in the early laning phase. If we were to think of a worst case scenario, they could even get zoned off of the lane here if Xayah and Brand cut them off from below the brush, since Janna isn't a dominant level 1 all-in support like Thresh, Braum, or Blitzcrank. But if you do have one of these supports instead of the Janna, and you're feeling a bit spicy, the reward can be worth the try if you do catch them in the river. On the other hand, if they go for option 2, the 100% play, which is to hit the wave immediately, they can get a minion health and XP lead for mission 1. This is much more optimal because it plays to all of the things that Jhin wants to do in this lane. With a minion lead, he'll put pressure on Xayah to move up and hit the wave, which will give him opportunities to abuse his short trading advantage. Anyway, as we move things forward, we can see that they've not only gone for the cheese, but that Brand and Xayah have also gone to the safe way to get into lane. Here, Jhin thinks that they can strictly win the 2v2 and paths forward to them. He should instead be approaching the lane in a more defensive path, because he can't safely commit to a trade with these three casters next to him. Jhin goes for these last hits while Janna moves up for pressure. This may look like Janna is pushed way too far up, but it works because Brand's Q is down, and Janna can't get beaten up too badly, though Xayah should have had better defended Brand with auto attacks. What Janna did here is important because it allowed Jhin to get an XP advantage, and while the XP advantage itself is nice, what's more important here is that he was able to get a minion advantage, and if Xayah wants to contest that, she'll run right into his pressure. With the minion lead, he can leverage this to relax and grab his own last hits as the minions are about to die, while setting up short and favorable trades for mission 2. A favorable trade here would look like Jhin pushing up and landing 1 or 2 autos with his Q, which are short trades where he outdamages Xayah. If he was playing Ezreal, he'd save his Q to trade, and as would Vayne and Draven to get the same value. Anyway, as Xayah is looking for autos on Janna now, she wants to back off since she's now in a 1v2. However, even though Janna wants to back off, Jhin is now moving up to go for damage on Xayah. The problem with this movement is that Brand and Xayah can now easily punish him. However, they don't, so Jhin goes unpunished for a really dangerous movement upward. Through Janna's pressure, Jhin has now accomplished mission 1 and is now in a position where he can really work on mission 2 of applying pressure with short trades. To make things even better, he has both his final shot ready as well as his Q. Basically, this is the most amazing situation you can be in at level 1, and you can recognize this by asking yourself 2 questions. First, do you have a 1 to 2 minion lead? And second, is your trading ability up? If both of these answers are yes, then you can do the following. For Jhin specifically, you're going to have around 5 seconds where this final shot is up, and in conjunction with your Q, you'll have about 200 damage that you can dish out onto whoever steps up. This means you have the power to zone the enemy duo lane away from minions and punish any missteps they make. And this isn't Jhin specific either. You can ask these questions and pull this off on any AD carry, but it's especially strong on punishers like Draven, Varus, Kog'Maw, and Misfortune. Sadly though, Jhin just uses his auto and his Q on the minion. Anyway, now the next wave crashes in the middle, and if we're thinking about mission 2, we don't want to be hitting the wave to keep Xayah away from her tower. This is going to remain true as long as mission 1 of having a 1 to 2 minion lead stays accomplished. With this in mind, we don't want to hit this wave at all. We've still got a minion lead, so hitting the minions more won't do anything because of 3 reasons. For 1, we're already pushing, for 2, we have a big wave to win trades with, and for 3, our opponent has to already step up to get last hits, which means that we can already punish them. Anyhow, Jhin moves up out of Xayah's range to get his own CS, which is smart since it prevents her from punishing him. However, now there's a low blue caster that Xayah wants to get. He's actually able to get an auto onto her, which is good, but it could have been excellent. The concept being applied here is correct, but the execution could have been just a bit better. If he had been closer to Xayah, he could have punished her as she came in to get the CS, getting a Q and potentially even his final shot onto her. When you want to punish on the CS, try to keep the enemy target within 100 to 200 range outside of your auto attack range. While this takes some getting used to, this will allow you to easily punish them while they move up to get last hits. This then becomes easier once you get a feel for the range of your champion. Here Jhin uses his Q on the wave, which isn't ideal as it doesn't follow the win condition for this lane of taking short trades against Xayah with this ability, and it also conflicts with the mission 2 of not pushing the wave. This is also problematic because killing this last melee will give him level 2, where he'll want to punish the enemy duo, but won't have his Q up to do so. In addition, had Jhin played this slower, he could have gotten the level lead in the first place without burning Qs on the wave, which would keep the wave closer to the center of the lane and allow for easier punishing trades against the enemy Xayah. Instead though, the outcome here is that Jhin actually seems a bit caught off guard by his own level up, and isn't in range to punish his opponents. If you remember in your own games, the third melee on the second wave gets you level 2. Janna knows this and has the right idea, and she pushes up, using her health as a resource yet again to initiate the fight and allow for Jhin to follow up and push his advantage. Jhin does a good job following up with autos here, and he gets a ton of damage onto Xayah, which is awesome. However, he should have used his final shot on Brand, since he's still level 1 and just has Q. So now Jhin has a level lead, but he also has a wave control problem. By failing at mission 3, by hitting the minions but also not pushing hard, the wave can now potentially freeze right in front of the turret here. In that situation, Jhin would have to break the freeze and Janna would have to ward, which is all a big pain. However, what really happened though is that Brand kind of inted pretty hard here and broke the freeze because the minions were aggroed onto him and he backed off, dragging them right into the turret. Yet again, we see that Jhin is getting randomly bailed out of a bad situation, but that kind of happens all the time in low elo. Anyway, now that the waves is met in the middle of the lane again, it's time to restart our missions. Jhin immediately gets a minion health lead, which is great, and he should now continue again with mission 2 by harassing with auto Q combos with Janna's shield applied. It's okay to auto the wave a good amount since Xayah is hitting the wave as well, and by matching her damage onto the wave, we maintain our minion advantage. But it's absolutely not okay for him to randomly use Q on the wave. If we think back to when we broke down the matchup, Xayah has a wave clear advantage and we can't deal with her push by going toe to toe in wave clear. When you have more damage and less wave clear, like in this Jhin versus Xayah matchup, you need to use your abilities on trading to deny the push instead of trying to match their wave clear. Again, Jhin uses Q on the cannon when his auto is also ready, which is just a waste. And now, everything that comes after this is because of those 2 wasted Qs. The wave is now in a terrible spot and Jhin is quickly running out of mana. Within around 20 seconds, with Jhin wasting his Qs on the wave, there are suddenly no good options left as he's failing missions 2 and 3. He should still look to pressure Xayah as she tries to last hit these minions, even as his stance in the lane is weakening, but unfortunately he wastes this opportunity by backing off as he gets shielded. At this point, Xayah is outpacing Jin in wave clear, and as he tries to contest the wave directly, he'll continue to be outpushed by her wave clear advantage. After he gets shoved in, he's then going to be exposed to Brand harassing him under his turret without the safety of his minion wave, which will quickly snowball into a bad situation. And, as we can see here, he no longer has the big wave to protect him from Brand's combo, which means that he gets hit by the first combo of the game. Unfortunately, at this point, Jin is pretty screwed. We see him have to burn heal due to the Brand combo, which really sucks. Then he's going to be pressured off with a big wave as it hits the turret. This results in a big CS and XP deficit and him almost dying, which could have made a bad situation catastrophic. Jin may go on to win or lose this game, but the result doesn't really matter. The importance of this game is the laning phase, where there were clear highs and lows. As the lane began, Janna played the level 1 well by pushing up and punishing Brand, which allowed Jin to get an XP and minion advantage. This matters because this relied on Janna making a good play for Jin to accomplish his first mission, and it wasn't Jin playing exclusively well at the start of the lane. And while Jin consistently held on to mission 1 of having a minion advantage, he wasn't able to consistently punish with mission 2. In addition, he went by constantly using abilities on the wave. The moment he went the lane was over. This is because Jin's wave pressure in this lane doesn't come from his wave clear, but instead his advantage in trading. If we were to replay this lane, we'd have gone for constant last hit punishes against Xayah the moment that she went for CS, stepping back whenever we needed to get our own minions. We wouldn't overpush the wave, which would build a huge minion wave for us to crash into the turret, allowing for a base if we needed mana to set up the strategy once again. And well, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.